Hey guys, I'm going to tell you the story of how I almost had to shut down my Airbnb my very first year and what ended up saving me. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Mike and I'm all about helping aspiring entrepreneurs get into the game of entrepreneurship and staying in the game as long as possible. Why did I get into Airbnb? It was to replace my 9-to-5 job income. Now, why did I choose it? It was because, as I began to do my research, I noticed that real estate and Airbnb business kept coming on of what will give you the highest return of investment. Real estate, I saw it as leverage and hedging my bets against the future, and the business of Airbnb seemed to be the most promising at this point in time. Now, at this point in time, I did start several other businesses because, once again, I was planning to leave my job, and all I wanted to do was to replace my income at this point in time. So Airbnb was one of those ventures that I ended up getting into. So I ended up doing some research, and I end up finding out, hey, you want your location to be 1, 1, and 1, right? Which is 1 mile away from downtown, 1 mile away from the premium school, the premier school that's in your area, and you want it to be at least 1 mile away from the hospital. So I ended up getting lucky and finding a location that met that buy box criteria that I was looking for. Fast forward a little bit, got under contract in July, ended up getting the keys to the properties in August. So this was a multi-unit property, so it came with tenants. When I closed that deal, I ended up getting a $2,400 check for the tenant's deposit, and the place next door was where I would have resided, and I furnished. And almost immediately, once I put it onto the platform, the weekends were primarily what I was focused on. It was almost booked within 24 hours, and the reason why is because I strategically wanted to go into Airbnb during the peak season for myself. That's football season. So the demand was so high, and I believe that's the reason why we got a booking so quickly. And by the end of that year, we ended up bringing in $17,000, and that was just based upon weekend bookings. Now the profit from that was roughly like $3,000, but it met my first criteria, which was each month we did not want to come out of pocket to pay that bill. So now, when did things begin to go downhill? It was when the slow season started to come, which was January. And the first mistake that I made was not knowing my market and not understanding my market. Next, what transpired was that $2,400 check that I received, you have to give those deposits back to your tenant as well. So the tenant has moved out, and if you recall, 2021, this was around the COVID scare. And COVID was just early talks, early conversations, and they began to put in restrictions in place like wearing masks and stuff like that. So the world was not fully shut down yet, right? So now we had the COVID scare happening, which now means that it's starting to force other cancellations to come into play. Now we're all used to, I brought partners in, we're all used to the money coming in, and we're thinking, hey, a full year, it's going to be even better. But now it's the slow season, and now because it's the slow season, things starting to slow down. One of my partners decided they want out of the business because, once again, it's slow season, things are going slow, the money's not coming in. The reason why that hurt me in the business is because that was my initial reason for bringing in partners, is because I wanted to mitigate my risk, because I knew that I was starting a multitude of business. And if things was to go south, I had somebody else that can go half and half with me. So now you have your partners wanting to get out of the game, you have tenants moving out, COVID restrictions piling up on you, and you don't understand your market and the game that you're actually in. And then now I have to figure out how to cut back on things. So now I'm starting to put in more work, labor intensive work, which is maintaining the lawn, doing project management, and doing the cleaning, because cleaning is going to take up between bare minimum 10 to 15% of your income. Then you have lawn maintenance and stuff like that. So at this point in time, now I'm in survival mode. Bookings aren't coming in as fast as they were prior. So my only objective now is, hey, ensure that the mortgage can be paid and the lights stay on, because now I'm playing the game behind, because now I need to learn these things, such as understanding my market and being better equipped to fulfill my duties in my Airbnb business. My whole thought process was, hey, all you need to do is make it to peak season, because the COVID restrictions or the COVID conversations was not affecting my peak season. No one said anything about canceling games. There was no conversation around that. So that was good news for me. That was the light at the end of the tunnel. I just need to make it to that. The next 6 months, next 5-6 months, I just need to make it there. Now, this is where the win begins to come in play. Number one thing, if you're going to do Airbnb, and that's why there's a difference between great hosts and hosts that are just subpar, is they understand their market, understand the people that are traveling in your area, understand what their expectations are and what they need from you. Is there families with kids? Is there adults, professionals? What is it about the individuals that's coming into your market? Is there students? So for me, I understand that during the slow seasons, there's legislation. So therefore, these individuals want longer term stays. Then I know in the summertime, there are international students coming in. I know that during peak season, there are football teams coming in, and mainly most of them are alumni coming in to watch the game and not the other teams' individuals coming in. So there's a lot of things that you have to begin to fine tune to better understand your market so you can do the best you can. I believe the next thing that actually saved me from not quitting and building up some momentum to get to the next peak season to better understand my market was being debt free. Because the only thing I needed to concentrate on is ensure that the property is paid for and the light stays on, right? Those are the main primarily two things, because nothing else matters if you don't have the property, and nothing else matters if the lights are not on to ensure that you have a business. Next thing that I believe saved me was I had an emergency fund. Now, it was not a large one because the $10,000 I had in the emergency fund was covering all 5 of the businesses that I was going into, right? So I went into Airbnb, I went into semi-trucks, I went into Turo, I went into a distribution company, and then I went into a healthcare company. So all of these things were all the kind of businesses that I was throwing at the wall to see, hey, which one of these are going to eventually help me to replace my 9-to-5, because an entrepreneur is one of the things that I wanted to go discover that I can do, right? I wanted to be a butterfly and figure something out at this juncture in my life. And the next thing that I believe that saved me was actual ownership. Like, I owned those properties, so it did give me a kick in the butt to say, hey, you're gonna stick it through, and then you can't quit because this was a big purchase for you and you need to figure it out, right? Because I had other verticals that I could have went into, particularly understanding my market. As I began to do the research, now I discovered what Furnish Finder was, and these are professional nurses coming in. And I eventually got into hosting nurses as well down the line to mitigate some of my risk as COVID began to get a little bit more serious and the world started to shut down. To go back a little bit, having ownership, I was not dreading having to go cut the grass because this needs to be maintained, and doing certain things or getting late night calls or stuff like that. I was not dreading that. In addition to that, I got all the benefits at the end of the year as well from, tax and legal standpoints. So I believe ownership was what kept my mentality the right way, right? Because when you start to do the whole arbitrage thing, and I'll do a whole nother video on that, the arbitrage thing, certain variables start to change, and your mindset starts to change because you begin to do a lot of work and you're not reaping all the fruits of your labor. And the number one thing that I really truly believe saved me to not shut down my Airbnb business was location, location, location. And I saw that several times on real estate podcasts, because remember what I said early on, I was looking into what can replace my income in real estate, and Airbnb just happened to be the business that I put into the real estate to get my highest return on investment. And location, location, location was always one of the number one things that individuals spoke about. So where am I at now? I'm now at a place in my life where Airbnb is one of the businesses that did eventually end up working out for me. I'm now focused on doubling down on what has worked for me, which is the real estate business and Airbnb, and growing out that portfolio. So I'll definitely keep you guys updated as I go down this journey now. And I'm thinking about doing a few other ventures as well. But thank you guys for coming here today. And if you have not said it to yourself, if you have not heard it today or this week, I'm proud of you for showing up, you're doing the work. And until next time, take care of yourself.